We thought we'd just like settle in for a short breath meditation, just for like 2 or 3 minutes, just to get our minds. Like we got up at 4 a.m. this morning, so I need it more than you do. But let's just take a minute and take a 10 breath count and see if we can get focused. So take 3 deep inhales. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Into your own rhythm of breath, do a 1 to 10 count.
Okay.
Open your eyes.
Yeah, let's start. Actually, that was a beautiful practice for GB and I to do together. We're so close, we're touching and we can feel each other, the breath that is in each other. So it's a form of pranayama.
We have English channel, right?
Oh, are we in the wrong channel?
There you go.
Is that better? Is that okay? Thanks, Yuki. Thank you. All right. So thank you again for coming. And thank you for your interest in wanting to uh, have a deeper, more profound life, and especially to develop a relationship that is profound in the sense that you learn to share your life together with the world. So, from what we're talking about today is basically our personal experiences on the profound teachings of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. And what makes this chapter 4 so unique is the role that it plays in helping everyone develop a spiritual partnership and how to use that partnership again to serve the world. So the practices that you do or learn in the 4th chapter, those ones are about mudras and bandhas, and visualization and meditation. Uh, and they're things that John and I have been practicing for so many years. It's hard to imagine our life without them. And so John's going to tell a story about Lady Naguma and Lord Naropa because this whole practice is ancient. It doesn't start in this modern world. And there were these beautiful practitioners that achieved the goal of yoga called Lady Naguma, many of you know, and her partner, her spiritual partner, Lord Naropa. Thanks, Judy.
You all know the stories, I bet, but just to refresh the core message of it, I think Naropa was a prince. He basically was the heir to a kingdom in India, and the parents got worried. He was going into, a life of celibacy, going into a life of learning Buddhist systems, going into a life of actually contemplating to become a monk. And the parents freaked out. Basically, the parents freaked out, and they arranged a very interesting challenge to find Naropa's perfect partner according to his high demand. And he had huge prerequisites that were almost impossible to meet, but they found a person 2 years after. Okay, yeah. And unbelievably, she came to their uh, royal family, and an arrangement was made, and they did get married. And between the two of them, they arranged later on a very interesting intentional scheme to liberate Naropa so he could go and study in Nepal and North India area. And she took the hit, as we would say right now, where there was a scandal where she admitted that she was involved with another person within the kingdom and was cheating on Europa, which was all fake. But it allowed him to liberate and leave out of and her, yeah. But he left first, and then she was kicked out.
She was probably already in love.
Yeah, exactly. She was. The case in point is that her level of wisdom at that time, and don't forget, they got married as teenagers. You know, the whole Indian system was by 14 you were ready to go and have a marriage because their lifespans were shorter. Long story short, she went and supported him secretly when he went into the monastic life. And that relationship completely was extended through a period of his educational career. Um, and ultimately, the beginning of her own personal story as a great yogini is where, you know, all of you in YSI are practicing. Her methods, her philosophy, her direct transmission of this practice is really in your hands. There isn't many organizations that function through a Naguma yoga practice. And when we found the text in St. Petersburg, it transformed Geshe Michael's idea to bring it into his own teachings when he came at a 3-year retreat. So she was someone who had already been on some level reaching a level of direct perception of emptiness and or fully enlightened being. And that's who she really is. She is a woman, Dakini, whose omniscience is now present back in the world of our time, sorely needed, by the way, in our time. So she is quite extraordinary, and I bet some of you are having remarkable experience with her as your direct transmission holders as YSI teachers and practitioners. Uh, these beings come to you when you start practicing their tradition, uh, and that's exciting. And we're all about female enlightened beings in our tradition, and she's right there. Uh, with others who I can't mention.
Thank you, JB. So I thought to talk a little bit about why we chose the name Profound Partnerships. It took a while, right, Sophie and Earl and everybody else here to choose that name. because sometimes um, people take these practices and they might think they belong or use them in ways that they're not meant to be used. But you already know from Lady Nukuma's yoga, there is an incredible idea that we can use the mind to move prana within the subtle physical body. And well, the fact is, any joyful prana that we have, it comes from the serving of others, taking care of others. And then we can use that prana that comes to us as bliss within the body, really beautiful feelings within the body, as a means to drive ourselves deeper in meditation. And that's amazing. Nobody thinks of doing this kind of thing, using beautiful feelings in the body to drive our meditation to achieve the goal of yoga. So that's why we called it profound partnerships, because it's not just about it's how you create that beautiful bliss. It comes from the joy of serving others. And as I look at Teresa, I think of our most recent programs in Turkey and her infectious joy of serving others. I keep seeing new videos and it brings more joy to me. So what we do for the world comes back to us, comes back in a physical feeling, which we then can use to achieve the goal of yoga. So to be able to get to that place, to get to the place of chapter 4, we need a really strong foundation in the yamas and the niyamas. We need a very deep love, not just for our partners, but for everyone we meet, everyone we can think of. And then we also have to have a deep desire to serve them, which usually means like sharing the knowledge that we have. And then we also need a love of profound states of stillness. So those 4 things: strong foundation in ethics, a deep love for everybody we meet and everybody you can think of, a deep desire to serve them, and a profound desire to reach a deep state of stillness. So GB's going to talk a little bit about how we use the lessons from the previous chapters of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika.
It's funny. I was in New York when this was first taught at one of the yoga studios in New York with Geshe Michael, and I think Earl was there. It was quite a remarkable moment. The yoga community just embraced it, and it was standing room only. It was quite special. It was amazing, actually. Um, and what do we do with this extraordinary pranic mind and body? Like, come on, like, how do we tune it up? There's. Do you remember in chemistry class tuning forks, where you could actually get a resonation of a sound, a pitch, which is quite like a singing bowl, very similar, to kind of get the mind attentive. Um, I think the whole practice of the previous chapters basically are giving us the foundational tools to bring not just this body into a positional outer method of yogic asana, right? Where we're all yogis from the standpoint of asana. And it's tuning up the body, tuning up the subtle mind and body, bringing you into a resonance in the subtle body more than most people would normally attain. That's a huge attainment as yogis, staying in this subtle body. But then it's the challenge of bringing the energies through the systems of subtle mind and body, which is instructional in the first three chapters. So we have we have the mind map in the first three chapters of getting ourselves prepared. We have the mind map to bring the energies through the subtle mind and body to the mind and beyond. And navigating and micromanaging that prana is what we get good at. Um, and I think the fourth chapter coming up is going to be, the fireworks of of the whole book. It's going to be a remarkable relationship with partners and how you bring it to the ultimate goal of total enlightenment. Uh, we call it actual clear light. And I think this is going to be an exciting moment in the history of YSI because this is the third rail coming up in less than a month with Geshe Michael teaching it in person. Um, so it's not just yoga, we know that. Um, Everybody who does yoga in America or anywhere else in the world, they get a blissful afterglow, but they don't know much more about why that's happening. And I think the opportunity with the teachings and training all of you are getting with Hatha Yoga Pradipika is the process of your own personal evolution, of navigating a higher state of awareness, and also bringing this instrument into a sense of bliss uh, rather than, you know, the actual conventional life of suffering. That's my take. Uh, so we have to work that through. And it's also about finding your teacher. It's always, you can only go so far on our own. Um, that's a bit of a leap when you create the seeds for finding your teacher. That's a leap into a whole other universe when you make that leap. And I think that's one of the most important parts of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika or any authentic tradition is that without a teacher, an authentic teacher, um, with all the capabilities and wisdom to take you further, um, that's when it gets really interesting. And partners should be an extension of your teachers. If you're not having an extension of understanding your partner is your teacher on all levels 24/7, uh, you're not going to progress. And that's an incredible journey. And some of you know that really well. And it doesn't stop, you know, it it evolves and it challenges. It brings you to places that you have to introspectively search in yourself on a deeper level of seeds that ripen or partners that are there for you to see the mirror of your seeds that maybe you haven't looked at. So there's so many levels to partners that bring you and I to um, a higher spiritual evolution. So I don't know. I think most of our long-term relationships in general, um, I know people who just want to get through the day with their partners. I mean, it's not always, you know, I don't know, it's not always this beautiful, glorious, TV show that is showing, a fake family having a perfect relationship. I mean, there are struggles, and you see that within couples, and you're there to help as teachers in any way you can, because getting through the day with your partner is not fun. You have to really work hard. It is getting through the day is an eternal, minutes go into hours, and some of you know that too. And it's part of the relationship as well that happens. Um, and so tuning up to our partners as teachers is very much of a Diamond Way experience, and you're already doing it with with YSI in various countries in the world. So it's not unusual to say that, but um, when we are together, I say something, and it's almost if Connie already knew that I said that, and then she responds. It's a weird thing where suddenly we're mind streaming each other sometimes, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. We can kind of say like we're in tune with each other, and those moments are pretty incredible, actually. You know, but the next day can be like, don't talk to me. I'm I'm you know I I'm going to the office. Like you took over the den and it's yours, and I'm going to the office. I mean, there's both sides to every day, and each one of those moments have relevancy to your own seeds projecting onto your partner. And I think that's something that, you know, is remarkable. What could be better than a reflective aspect of your seeds ripening, and to kill them as being self-existent overlay on your partner, which gets every partnership in problems and relationship issues and, you know, contracts. So we're a work in progress like everyone else, and I think that's where I want to be. It should be a work in process because partners bring you to the final goal. Your partner brings you to the final goal, and it's it's that high stakes, high risk, high gain, and it's a beautiful process. And I can't imagine anyone not diving into one. When the right person is planted by you and I, you have to plant that person and plant that person with every minute detail you'd like to see manifest inside them for yourself. And that's a great seed planting. We call them thought experiments in DCI, like go for it and plant your partners. Um,
I want to say GB did a great job.
yeah.
Anyway, so that was, I think, the biggest takeaway from both of us. And what we use in our lives from the first chapter is seeing each other as a teacher. And we don't always get it right, but the practice of it fosters a really deep respect for each other when we do it well. And that's really the basis. That respect and trust is really the basis of everything else that you're going to learn and do in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So that's the profound takeaway from chapter 1. So in chapter 2, of course, it's about building the strength in the body through the asanas and how that reflects in our relationship. I always want to talk about JB's practice because his practices with asana is much better than mine. And it shows not only in his health, but how he uses it for his emotional balance. Like he might do his meditation really early in the morning and later in the day do a strong yoga practice. And that balances him from what's happened during the day for the rest of the day. And then also helps his meditation the next morning. But then it also helps our relationship because what happens is you don't bring emotions that you don't want into your relationship. Things that you take care of what is yours to take care of is what I'm trying to say. And then you have this opportunity to have a peaceful place that is the start of everything that we want to do with our life. You can imagine if we were all emotionally all over the place, it becomes very difficult to serve others. So,
Yeah.
using your asana and your meditation as that kind of grounding force to to be able to have a place to come from to serve others is perfect. So that's the second, that was pretty much the second
Can I tell a
chapter.
little story?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Um, so, all of us are pretty good yogis, but somehow or another, I need to go and do some gym stuff, right? Like just a little bit of a machine system. And I thought I'd try to trick Connie into doing it with me. And I got there's an app that keeps invading my Instagram feed, and it's called A Better Me. And it seems like they know what they're doing, and it's, sexy women and men, like doing like these 11-minute sessions. So I downloaded and I started doing it. And actually I got Connie to start doing it. And
they're all men, actually.
Yeah, they're all men. Um, and I think it's really to attract women to their place. But it's kind of like Pilates meets yoga meets lifting meets everything. And it's pretty damn cool because it appears to be working on muscles that don't get truly activated in some of the yoga systems. Like we were sore after the second one, like, oh my God, like, my whole shoulder system was like waking up to ache and pain. And so we're trying to, like, I think it's good for us to do stuff like that together to make it fun, like it. And it's 11 minutes a day. And so that's like my new thing with Connie. It's like, okay, let's do a better me now and do it.
And still later in the day, he does his full yoga asana practice. Okay.
You got to make it fun,
Okay. You're the next.
Oh yeah. So pranayama, one of the most, it's like nuclear fission or something. Pranayama is like really a serious practice. And I think it synchronizes our energies, right? Pranayama is this creating like this alignment, right? When communications break down, our words fail. And Tonglen is a pranayama in a way, right? Tonglen, I don't know. I think it's one of the most powerful meditations over the years that is still one of my relevant practices. And it just gives this detachment of, we've been doing a lot of DCIG talk about self-grasping and self-cherishing, and it actually neutralizes a sense of self-cherishing and self-grasping simultaneously. It has the power to refocus yourself not on yourself and take a person who's apparently showing to you their sickness, physical, mental, emotional. We have somebody who is in chemo right now, and that person's a perfect object for Connie and I to work with. And it brings you back so beautifully to this mirror of self-cherishing, and it goes away, and you're back to ground zero with a little bit more sustainable balance when things are weirdly imbalanced emotionally or mentally, for that matter. So it helps keep our heart open. It helps bring you to a worldview that's all about serving more than about self-grasping. And it's so good, to have that in your toolbox. And if you start with a pranayama before you go into your Tonglen practice, then you're getting more in the subtle mind immediately to actually bring this diamond way practice that happens to be open into your daily kind of check-in. It's like a check-in. You can do a Tonglen in 20 minutes, and we can do it with each other. And we do that. We can do it with each other as the object. And I've been kind of defending the myth that you shouldn't be doing it on yourself. There's some in DCI land, Tonglen is a legal method to teach. And when you say, well, what are you doing it with on yourself? And people say, oh, no, 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 that's not, we're supposed to be doing it for others. No, you have to do it on yourself once a week and purify something that is maybe creating an obstacle in your relationship, or just something that's going on emotionally with you, and get it out, clean it out. And I'm kind of promoting that a lot more than ever before, uh, to do a Tonglen on you and figure out what you want to remove that's keeping you in some limited space, and kill it. Peacock warrior, kill it, destroy it, and do it for yourself.
Okay. uh, oh, you want that part?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
me?
Yeah.
All right. The more, the deeper part of doing Tonglen, really, it's about the seeds that we're planting as we do it. So if JB does a Tonglen for me when my emotions are out of balance, and he's breathing for me, that really connects the two of us deeply. It slows me down because he's using his breath for me. And because we're already so deeply connected. So it's planting these beautiful seeds for harmony between the two of us just by using the breath, but also using stopping our own, what we want most for ourselves, our own cherishing, because that's the thing that destroys relationship. When we get selfish, it destroys our relationships. But the Tonglen is the exact opposite of that. It's thinking about what somebody else needs and then giving that to them. So it's a beautiful thing to do with your partner. Okay, so that brings us to chapter 4. And what John and I do already from chapter 4, because as JB said earlier, we got these practices, I don't know, 2006,
Yeah.
2007,
2006.
something like that, a long time ago. And a lot of it for us is about the visualizations that we do. Uh, it can be with the yoga in the like the mudras and the bandhas, things like that. But a lot of it really is about those visualizations and how we hold each other to be a very special person for one another. Except for on those days where, where Connie's hogging the office. Anyway, so we've been doing it for so many years, it's almost impossible for us to step outside of that and see what it would be like not to practice this way, because it's created an upward spiral of seeds that we're able to serve more people with greater depth. When I finished 3-year retreat, I remember thinking, I want to be so much like Geshe Michael to be able to serve more people. But I'm always somebody who is like, oh no, this is my limit. This is as far as I can go. And then of course you meet a partner who drives you further, helps you to do more. And that partner doesn't have to be just, spiritual partners can be the people at work. My goodness, like honestly, working with YSI, almost every person, not almost, every person that I work with at YSI is a spiritual partner for me. They increase my capacity to serve the world because of who they are. They're so beautiful. Earl, Bernie, Teresa, Yuki, Sophie, it's, Benji, Bob, Lydia. It's phenomenal to create that kind of spiritual partnership within the people that you work with. So it's not just this profound partnership, it's going to work with people who inspire you to be better uh, and be able to serve more people. It's an unbelievable uh, fact that I could be part of this yoga community of people, and that we are all part of this yoga community. Um, it just, I think sometimes my wanting to put a limit in the past, I used to feel like uh, this is the edge of my island. This is the edge of me. And I don't think I can go past that. But I've learned that's not true because of all of the people that I get to work with. They, when I'm with them, they're the world that expands me into the world. So I know that sounds, I don't know how that sounds, but the practice of the seeds that I think I planted together with JB, doing a 3-year retreat, the desire and the to have a goal that is to serve the world, uh, created a team like YSI. And so it created my capacity to do exactly what I asked that I could do coming out of 3-year retreat. So thank you, YSI. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you do this, right? Planting the seeds, right, for partnership and the continuity of continuing planting seeds to have this partnership sustain and flourish. And that's that's work. This is not for the weak at heart. Uh, it really is work. You can't coast in a relationship for very long before something shifts, the karmic shifts of seeds that just suddenly create a self-existent barrier with your partner. This is work, and you know, we're really good at catching our times when seeds start to kind of pull us into a place of not communicating for like a few 4 or 5 hours and what's going on with each other. And we're really good at like, no, stop everything what you're doing and let's bring this to the front and center of our day. And I think that seed planting is where do we do the antidote to make this go away in each other? And that's something that honestly DCI has given me and Connie other tools to really work the relationship in a different way. But seed planting for any of us on this call for the partner of your choice that you want to design. Um, we just got some catalog about designer clothes, and by mistake it was for somebody else. It was for Don't Tell Stanley and Xiaoping, but I didn't know it was theirs because they still send mail to me. But it's this Neiman Marcus, like incredible, like you know, partner uh, prototypes. And you look at this and you see these divine beings that are, where they're wearing like $38,000, earrings or something. But it's really interesting to go through this book and see archetypes of magnificent women for us guys to say, it starts to put together a mental image. But one thing that is so cool that is more of a higher practice is putting your seed, I want to say orchestrating your seed program, right? It's an orchestration. It's not one seed. But if you consider how the mind works, one of the advanced level systems of DCIG is right out of Mind Only School. And it's about literally putting together and deducting all the things you would not want in a partner, right? The process of the 38 things that you definitely don't want about your partner, and then creating a much more clear, insightful mental image of who that being is. And then you work your seed system through that, evolution. And that could reinvent itself in different ways to say, oh, here's another beautiful thing I would love to have in my partner, in my future partner, or fixing your current partner, which is also crucially important on navigating that process, because fixing is just as equal to finding a new partner. So in a relationship, you're also applying that, um, and that's my take at this point. How do you design and then put forth the action plan? And most of you are much more in touch with your subtle mind and body than 95% of the rest of the world, for goodness sake. You can pull this off so much easier than most people. Um, so deep, this, if you want a deep partnership, start with celebrating the happiness of others who have great partnerships and appear to be very happy. Um, and it's based on trust on all levels. Um, this idea of deep trust in each other, that nothing is off the table for understanding each other in habits, in every form of a relationship, that there has to be blatant honesty, self-reflection, ownership. It's almost like being in a state of vulnerability in the highest sense of the word, that you're open, and that beautiful partner of yours knows where you are at any given moment, or can question if there's something that's discordant in the process of your relationship. Um, so we do the energy work together. We kind of want to, we have a lot to do for, you know, ALL and HY, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, YSI. I have a lot to do with traveling with Connie. We're more traveling as partners now and teaching together, which is nice for me. So teaching together is one of the most gorgeous gifts we can give each other, because you're bound at the hip no matter what. And sharing a teaching is so crucial on the balance of it, and who is bringing the content to an audience, like what parts are better for each other. Um, but the practice has to be internal, and it has to be consistent. And, you know, there's a lot of active truthing in partnerships. Um, I don't know. That there's a saying in America, you know, I'm going to call you on your poop, you know, and sometimes we have to call each other on our poop. And I think that's part of it. It's rare, but we have to do it. And we do it, and it gets uncomfortable, but it's real, and it makes us work. And um, it's usually Connie calling me on my poop. Uh,
I love where this conversation has gone. We were talking about bliss.
without transparency, bliss is not possible. And we have to be transparent, and at least from my side, um, it's true. I feel that we have we have to take the risk of saying something. And if you're skillful, God bless, you can say it in a way that actually triggers a seed that gives you a positive response. But I think all of us know this, and many of you are in relationships. So, you know, we're very independent. We can stand alone as individuals, and emotionally we can stand alone. And I think that's something that's such a beautiful gift that we don't have this enabling process that we see in the world a lot with partnerships. And I think that gives us such freedom to bring up when we're together. It brings us to a synergy that's much greater than each individual.
Mm.
And that's seeds that are really powerful seeds for presenting and being an example.
Mhm. Actually, I want to say that JB is the jewel that I wear. And what I mean by that is very deeply part of the fourth chapter. Uh, the, it's his wisdom that transforms me in many ways. And then it's the joy of doing what we do together that helps us both as we meditate, helps us understand deeper things, things that are that I couldn't understand in all the years of teachings at Diamond Mountain. I didn't even understand in some ways, even in 3-year retreat. But the practice of working together in our partnership and serving the world and wearing JB as my jewel, not like that magazine. Well, he is like that magazine. Um, that's what has taken me to the deepest, most profound understandings, even of emptiness. I mean, it's my mind sometimes is crazy. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to write it all down because I understood things that I never understood before. And the whole practice is based, I want to say, starting again, going right back to ethics. There's no way to even think about really practicing asana unless we have, or the whole world has, an idea of how to be kind to one another. Because our yoga practice will fail, we'll get hurt. All of those very practical things that happen when you don't have a strong foundation in ethics. And then just when it comes down to wanting to help the whole world and two people wanting to do that together, that's a very precious gift I never want to lose. And JB was talking about an act of truth. Um, there's a way to do that act of truth that helps keep your relationship together. It also helps somebody um, who wants to develop a good spiritual partnership. Maybe they have a partnership, but they would like to get that partnership to the place of being a spiritual partnership, one that helps the whole world. And so it's a really simple thing, like 3 statements that you can make after you do something that is helpful to the world or helpful to your partner and yourself. Um, you just make this statement that by the truth of seeds, by the truth of emptiness, and the fact that there are beings in the world like Lady Naguma and Lord Naropa who have achieved this goal, may I achieve it too. That's so simple to say after you've done something that's kind for others and you want to direct it towards keeping your relationship intact, and you want to maybe direct it towards creating a powerful spiritual partnership. So it's one practice that I would highly recommend. It's easy. You can do it before you go to sleep. Anyway, yeah, that's just something beautiful you can do. Oh, I never thought, but let's just kind of review.
Mhm.
Let's we'll do it. Would it be okay to open to a Q&A after we do a kind of a quick review? Is that okay, Yuki? or
She gave
Sophie?
you, Sophie gave you, yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, first of all, there are beings in the world that we know of. We have good examples of how to live a great spiritual, profound partnership. You need a strong basis in being very ethical. You need a strong basis in wanting to serve others and serve each other so that you can get over your own kind of self-cherishing. You need to be able to, just trying to think of all those things. You need to think of each other as teachers for one another. You need to take the practice of looking for a teacher to each other, looking for messages from one another on a daily basis. Even if it just seems like it was something mundane that you just heard, try and find a message in it, right?
Mhm.
So seeing your partner in a very special way, like they're already an angel. Well, they are for you, that they're the jewel that you wear.
You could do this in your everyday life. I mean, looking for messages from, you know, if you go on a quest for looking for messages during a day, especially from your partner's side, but also in general, it's a great practice to get ready for Diamond Way. Uh, it's really a fun thing to do, to look for secret messages of so-called people in the world, strangers. And, when you go to get your morning coffee at wherever you go to get your morning coffee, like, is there somebody that's going to say something or give you a certain look and bring that kind of like, what's that person all about? What did they really mean? Making something like that happen is so much fun. And it can be really changing your outer reality quicker if we take it that level. But, the primary message is this being who is telling you, frankly, maybe you'll get it if I say it this way.
mm,
And it's a skill, really. Um, well, he didn't get it yesterday. I'm going to bring it around the other way and show him the example. And I think you have to be ready for that with your partner. There are messages, and that makes them not normal. And we don't want to be normal. Normal's an enemy in our general guise of life and how to be in the world.
yeah. And then I think, thank you, love. Then really do your practices together as much as possible, whether it's pranayama or tonglen, do those practices together. Definitely. And then I think finally, visualize yourselves, your partner and yourself as somebody who is already maybe reached the goal, and then take each other in that way. So before we go to Q&A, I love Earl. He reminds me always of the things that we really need to do. I really need to ask you to come to this amazing teaching. Please come and join us with the Hatha Yoga Pradipika 4. It's like the cherry on top of everything.
It's the chocolate sauce.
It is chocolate sauce for, if you want that profound partnership, you got to come to this course. So please do come. And and now maybe we have.
And we found the venue, Earl.
I think Earl even approved it.
Wow, it's a gorgeous venue. You know it.
And there's probably room, Teresa, for sure there's room to dance.
Yeah, there was a dance party there by people last month.
But for sure, no, Teresa, she's one of the best at getting everybody to
Oh,
dance.
that's great.
That's probably a practice that belongs to Hatha Yoga Pradipika 4. Okay, so come and dance with us. I know Francisco's coming, Sophie's coming, they're coming in person, Teresa's coming. So please come and join us. And if there's a question, please, thank you for that. Oh, Tracy's coming. Yay. Thank you, Tracy, for coming. If there's a question, you can unmute and ask in 4 minutes, or no, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, because I think Sophie might have some final words to say.
Connie, I have questions represent all the Chinese students. Can I ask?
Yeah, of course.
So because I will ask in English because Peter is doing the translation. Lots of Chinese students, they never study Hatha 1, 2, 3, and then they think they are concerned if they can jump Hatha 4 directly without learning that, and then they know it's really deep teachings. So do you have any suggestion for them? For those students who want to come, but they're a little bit worried.
I do. Join Benji's practice club. I can't believe I created somebody like Benji. He does a practice club all the time that helps people understand everything in a deep way and use the practices. So you can join Benji's practice club, and those earlier Hatha Yoga Pradipika courses, we make them available. It's not like they're gone forever. They are taught again and again. And I think Sophie can probably, and Earl, if he wants to unmic, I'm falling off my stool, he can tell you more about where and when you can get those courses too. Thank you for asking that so much, Yuki. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Veronica. Nice to see you with all your people on Hainan Island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
She has a
cool.
question.
Hi. We are in China.
Hey, Chan's there too. Is that
That's
Chan? I think so. I saw her just come along.
We
everywhere. She's everywhere.
Hi, May.
小娟过来，小娟is here. 海南。
Oh, thank you guys. Okay.
We have a party here.
Nice.
Okay.
We have a question.
No, Sophie's going to close us out, I think.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Veronica and everybody. Thank you, everybody, for putting this together.
Can we ask questions?
Oh, we don't have time.
A quick one.
A quick one? Okay. Thank you, Sophie.
Okay. My question is, because Jabila just saying that we can find the message from our relationship from our partners or our family or friends. What if I see maybe my family member or my friends who are gambling all the time, but message like you?
You're answering.
Yes, you, JB.
What do you see if you your family gambling? Yeah, that's a really that seed is prevalent in mainland, isn't it? As
And
well,
everywhere.
but more, mainland is a big issue. What about the seed that why are you seeing this family member waste their money and put their families in jeopardy? Why are you seeing it is really more of the question. What seed are you actually needing to purify, correct? It has to come from that perspective, because externally you can't do anything. You're being forced to see this, so it's in the present moment. It's a result of your own seed ripening. So what do? Well, you maybe start working on a perfect example is work on a Tonglen with this family member, and understand that the destructive nature of gambling, the addiction of gambling, is going to not only destroy his life or her life and everyone around them, and start working it from the perspective of Tonglen. And I think that can be an initial step to find a 4-step process to help him and bring that next step of four-stepping or simultaneously do both at the same time to find somebody with a serious addiction that's damaging themselves and damaging the beings around them, which inevitably is a disaster. So, get a seed partner to actually function, because you're a yogini, you're a yoga master, and that can produce a very different result in their seeds if you could skillfully bring them into your yoga studio and teach them and give them an option. But you have to do both. You have to do a method like a four-step seed planting method with somebody who's addicted.
And I forgot, John has a call right at 7:00.
I'm just going to put them in. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Pita, and everybody who's translating. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Karina, whoever's translating for us in Russian. Thank you. Love you.
Thanks, everyone.
And we look forward to seeing you either in person or online for the Hatha Yoga Pradipika.
Or in Sedona.
Yeah. Okay.